Good evening, Cecil TV. I'm Grant Handley, your political correspondent. Welcome back to our Democracy 2026 segment. I'm joined here today with a candidate running for Cecil County Sheriff, Chris Sutton. Chris,
yes.
Welcome to the show, my friend.
Nice to meet you, Grant.
You too, sir. Welcome, and hope you had a wonderful holiday and great Thanksgiving. All
I
that good
did.
stuff.
I did. Spent it with family. I hope you did as well.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I think the biggest question is, who is Chris Sutton?
And that's a fun question for me to answer,
Sure.
right? I could break that down very shortly for you. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm a father, and I'm a grandfather. I'm a Republican, and I'm very proud of my kids, my grandkids, and I'm very passionate about anything I do, Grant. Anything. My family, I love my family. I love working with dogs. Dogs are my passion. They're part of our family.
Oh.
And I'm a retired Sheriff's Office veteran.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome to the show. You, obviously, as you mentioned, you're running for the sheriff office. Why are you running for Cecil County Sheriff?
I couldn't sit back anymore, Grant. I'm very proud of where I grew up. I grew up in Cecil County, and I worked almost 22 years at the Sheriff's Office, and just the way things are going in the community. It's not where I grew up. It's not the same thing. I understand stuff evolves over time, but I just couldn't sit back and know that there's a chance I could make a difference.
Yeah.
And said, you know what, I have to go back in there. I still have the passion to do it. I just can't sit back. A lot of people will say the same thing. This is not the same place we grew up.
Yeah.
And we need to make some changes. And I'm excited to bring those changes, excited to tell people about those changes, and ready to get Cecil County back to where it needs to be.
You know, Chris, it's interesting. I think with any political race, delegate, county council, you typically have people that have candidate A, candidate B. They have different platforms, different things they like to see. When it comes to a sheriff race, I imagine any sheriff candidate is typically pro law enforcement and things like that. So I ask you, how does your leadership as sheriff, how would that differ from that of Scott Adams or perhaps any other candidate running for sheriff?
Well, and you're right. I'm definitely pro law enforcement, right? If I'm in the wrong business, if I'm not,
sure,
okay?
Right.
But I'm definitely pro law enforcement. There's a lot of differences, though. There's some things that I believe my experiences when I worked at the sheriff's office, and actually the experiences that I got not when the sheriff's office. So I've been retired for a few years now. So I've got to see the perspective from the police side and the citizen side. And where I think we're disconnecting is we're not working as a group. The police are not working with the community as much as they should. Law enforcement, yes, there's police officers that their job's to do it, but it's only going to work if we work together. Right? So the way I'm different a little bit is, the way I'm going to manage, right? I'm not a good old boy. Right. There's a lot of good old boy systems that's happening, not just in the sheriff's office, but in politics in general.
Interesting, yeah.
I'm not a yes man. Sometimes, that's why some people don't like me.
Right.
But that's why some people love me.
Right.
I am what I am. I respect everybody, and I just want respect in return. But the way I'm different is I'm going to bring back the culture of the sheriff's office. As you can see, and I'm sure we'll get to it later, but there's a lot of issues that I just feel need to be different. So I would categorize my style from the current sheriff and so far from what I heard from my opponents is a totally different approach. We need to try something different.
Yeah.
And I believe my team and I are that difference.
That's a wonderful segue because on your campaign website, one of the biggest platforms you're running on is bringing back community policing. What is community policing and what does that look like here in Cecil County if you were the sheriff?
Well, it is such a cliche of community policing, right? It's like we're supposed to work. But community policing is the basic police 101, right? When I was in the police academy in 1993, community policing was brought home where the community and the police work together in a partnership. Because let's face it, you could have the best law enforcement officers in the world. And I do believe that Cecil County has a lot of the best officers in the world.
Sure.
I really believe that. They really care. But if we're not working with the community, we're not going to get it done. Nobody knows the community better than the community, right? We don't know if that car at that house is out of place. It might just seem like it's another house, but the neighbors do. So if they trust us, they get to know us, we're going to communicate more. I think over the years, we've gotten away from that. We don't get out and walk in the communities. We don't get out and walk in the businesses. We don't get out and play with the kids on the street. I think that's important. If you got kids playing basketball, jump in there and play basketball. If you got kids fishing, go over and see how their fishing's going. They may first think it's weird, but then they're going to trust you.
Right.
They're going to get to know it. I think we've just gotten away from that. So community policing is not as hard as it seems. It's just going to be, and that will include me. If I'm honored enough to be the sheriff, I will be doing community policing myself. On my campaign right now, we do what we call Sutton on Scene. It's where I go out into different areas of the county. We advertise it. People can come and see us, ask us any questions they want, get questions from people, and they can send us questions on the air. The same way I'm running the campaigns, the same way I'll be as the sheriff. I'm not going to be behind a desk.
Sure.
Obviously there's duties you got to do behind the desk, but I'm going to be out and seen in the public, attending the meetings, getting the feedback from it, and getting the guys involved in that. That's community policing.
So it sounds like as sheriff, maybe you'll have more foot patrol, more day-to-day interaction and things like that.
We have to. That's the only way it works.
Yeah.
That's the only way it works, if we work together with the community. And right now, I don't think the community trusts us. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not going to get into too many details, but we've seen some negative press lately coming out of the sheriff's office. And that's a shame, because that does not reflect 95% of the men and women that work there. But it's what the people see. So now we kind of got to build our rapport back up with the community, and that's what I plan on doing the first day I step in office, if I'm honored enough to be the sheriff.
Yeah. On the national level, there are always public, policing headlines that always grab people's attention, and one of the most upsetting, I think, to the average American is the horror of gun violence in schools. And while Cecil County has been spared of any sort of tragic shooting at a school, we do see an uptick in those numbers throughout the past decade here in the United States. So, in your opinion, are we doing everything we can to prevent a tragedy like that in our school system?
Unfortunately, no. Do I think that the men and women are care and doing their best? Absolutely do. But I don't think we're doing enough. We have, I believe it's 19 schools that we're in charge of. Right, there's 29 in the county, but 19, and we have 5 deputies assigned to those schools. Now, I've already researched it and figured a way that I can add more deputies.
Are these school resource officers, when you say a deputy being added to a school?
Yeah, well, my plan, Grant, and this would be the first time that people are hearing it right on your show.
Oh, we go.
So this is the breaking news
big.
here. But I've reached out to other sheriffs that do this, and members on my team, and we can do what's called contractual. Okay, they do it at the courthouse already. You take a retired guy that's recently retired. They still have to pass certifications. They still have to be up to date on all the policies, and we give them a job that they don't get no benefits, but they work Monday through Friday, and they hit the summers off.
Right.
There's Queen Anne's County right now that is doing that, and I reached out to Sheriff Hoffman, and he explained how successful that is. I don't know why we're not doing that now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, after this interview, they'll look into it. Okay, but I plan on doing that when we get into office. We got to have more. I know they can't do the ALICE training anymore just because of state laws, but we got to find more ways to get the kids involved. I think they do a good job, I really do, but I think we need to be doing a great job.
Yeah. Well, that is a fine point. Thank you. Another really popular, not popular, but pressing issue at the federal level is, out of 24 counties in Maryland, Cecil County is one of 9 that has the 287G agreements with the Immigration Customs Enforcement Agency, which facilitates immigration enforcement efforts within detention facilities. As sheriff, would you continue, this policy, and if so, why or why not?
Yeah, and it's funny, Grant, that you asked that, because I get asked that a lot.
Okay, sure.
Out on the campaign trail. So I've done my research on it, and the answer to the question is yes, absolutely. We will stay one of those counties that do it. We're not out to violate anybody's rights, okay? As far as somebody walking down the street to be profiled, that's not going to happen.
Right.
But if it happens to be where they commit a crime against anybody in Cecil County or Cecil County property, and they do a different crime, and it ends up that they have an issue with their deportation, then we will work with the ICE agents in the process to do what we need to do. I will continue to have the training down in the detention center so we can even get more of the agents trained, because I don't want to violate anybody's rights, but I also don't want anybody violating the law in this county.
All right.
Not as long as I'm the sheriff.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris, this has been really insightful. Do you have any other final thoughts on your platform, and maybe shout us out on your website and how to learn more about you to the viewers?
Well, yes, thank you guys. The website is chrissuttonforsheriff.com. It's interactive. My Facebook page is interactive. Like I said before, Grant, I go out and I do Sutton on the scene.
Sutton on the scene,
and that's what we call it.
I like it.
I go to different areas of the county. We've been to 5 different areas. We're going to do another one before the holidays are over. So I'm making myself very available. I want your questions. I want your feedback. I love the fact that I was invited on your show to do this. I do just want to bring up a couple points,
Absolutely.
and I brought a card here just to show you, because one of the main problems that law enforcement having right now is recruitment and retention. Okay, and recruitment has went up recently, and they really have to break that down and thank the county executive for that and the FOP. The sheriff, again, I'm not here to say anything bad about him. I think he's a good person, Sheriff Adams, but he didn't have anything to do with that. That was the county executive and the FOP coming together to make pay pretty much a non-issue now. But pay attracts people, Grant. The environment, the culture keeps them. So we're not going to have a attraction problem now, but we're going to have a retention problem. And the way I'm going to deal with the retention problem, just to give you a quick example.
No, this is great.
In 2020, and these are right from a Freedom of Information Act that I got from the Sheriff's Office, okay? So in the Patrol Division 2020, we're down 8 positions. 2021, down 11 positions. 2022, 13 positions. 23, 11 positions. 24, 12, and even with the new pay raise, they're still down 10. Talk about the detention center, because as sheriff, you're responsible for the detention center too, and they're the unsung heroes that kind of get left behind, but they're doing a very important job, a job that most of us wouldn't want. That's a tough job that they do. In 2020, they were down 10. 2021, 33. Oof. 2022, 36. 2023, 36. 2024, 30. 2022, 22. That's what we're down. And then one thing else I just want to add. This information, Grant, just so you know, came right from the Sheriff's Office annual report, which you can find on Cecil County government.com, okay? This is very concerning to me of why retention is important to you, the people. When guys are working shorthanded, their calls for service are going down, their response times are going down. We've unfortunately talked to people out in the business world that said they were armed robbed and it took 20 minutes for the police to get there. Yeah. And I'm a big supporter of the police, but that's really unacceptable, right? These are crimes of violence. They need to be attended right away. And I blame it on, we're short-staffed, lack of leadership. Where is the leadership? It would be my question. So just some quick stats that I think that people should know. Again, these are not my numbers. I didn't pull them out of the air. These are right from the Sheriff's Office. Crimes with weapons up 69% with weapons. Weapons we're scared. We don't want weapons. We don't want them in our schools. We don't want them in our communities, but they're up 69%. Here's one that's really going to blow your mind, blew my mind, and I had to look at it twice. Drugs, 350%. Drug violations are up 350%. Stolen property. How many of you have had your property stolen? Right? That's up 67%. Drugs, weapons.
Where was this data pulled from?
The Sheriff's Office annual report.
Wow.
Right on Cecil County government website.
There you go.
Right? Now, and 2 other things I want to say, because we're going to do some restructuring in the Sheriff's Office, because in my opinion, this is important for people to know. Okay? The Sheriff's Office has what I call right now 13 administrative positions. 13 people that have an administrative duty that work Monday through Friday. The minimum manpower for the Cecil County Sheriff's Office to be in your neighborhoods at all hours of the night is 5. I retired in 2014. The minimum manpower was 5. We have not upped the minimum manpower in your communities, and it's showing. It's showing here. These guys are getting burnt out. It could be done by schedules. we're going to have to do some good recruiting and retention, which I'm planning to do day one. I have a lot of deputies that left there have reached out to me and said, Mr. Sutton, if you're elected, can I come back?
Yeah.
And they left because of the culture. It wasn't the pay. I don't want to get into the things, but let's just say there's unbiased, unfair treatment. And we're going to address that later in the campaign. But there's, a lot of problems with administrators. I'm talking lieutenants and up. Once I'll tell you some of those stories, it's going to really make people say, wow. And it's a shame. I don't enjoy doing that, but I have to let people know, right? That's why. One key thing here. One of the things I get brought up the most, which really shocked me, but it was my concern too, is traffic. The traffic in Cecil County is horrible. Probably horrible all over, but people drive like they're in a video game. It's dangerous out there. I'm surprised more people are not getting killed. By the grace of God, they're not. I mean, they're driving four-wheelers up and down the road and, with no lights on and everything else. Well, the sheriff's office have a traffic unit, but it pretty much was abolished. So we don't have no traffic unit. Drugs is a really big problem, right? We had a street-level crime unit. Well, for you guys that don't know what a street-level crime unit is, it's basically guys that go out into your neighborhoods and deal with the people who are peddling these drugs. And these drugs, by the way, are killing our families. This is fentanyl and stuff like that. It's not back in the day, it was a little bit of pot, and it's not saying that's okay, but this is dangerous drugs. It's killing people, right? The street-level crime unit, abolished. No street-level crime unit. We're going to bring that back. We're going to bring it back, and we're going to bring it back fast. Yeah. And I know we can do it. We can already do it by not even adding the manpower. I'm confident we're going to get a lot of people apply if I'm honored enough to be your sheriff. But I will tell you this, just by taking some of the administrative duties and rearranging what they do and how they do it, you can already see there's no way in the world it takes 13 people to manage 5 people. Just math doesn't make sense. So somebody needs to be doing some different responsibilities. We need to reallocate our resources, which I already have a chart. We will have that ready to go. I believe you gotta address the problem, find a solution to the problem, and if you guys elect me, then we'll get to implement our way to fix it. And again, my name is Chris Sutton. It's an honor to even be considered for your vote. I appreciate you, Grant, and all for having me here. And Chris Sutton for sheriff.com. Please, I'm available. I'll come see you, answer any question you have. I'm very open, and I'm passionate about what I'm doing. We need change, and I believe my team and I is that change. And you're going to see my team. We're going to announce the full team either later this week, next week. And I'm super excited when you see their experience and everything that they bring to the table. Cecil County is ready for this energy and this new way of thinking. Thank you.
Chris, welcome to the thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Really welcome your thoughts. And,
I appreciate the opportunity.
To our viewers, hope you enjoyed, and keep following Cecil TV for more interviews towards this political election process.